What is it with the left and violence? They cannot help themselves. Time and time again, they resort to violence, whether it's mass violence, like we saw with the BLM and Antifa riots, or one-on-one violence, like this next clip.
You ever notice how the left loves to lecture everyone about peace and tolerance, right up until someone disagrees with them? Then suddenly it's fists flying, riots burning, and full-blown meltdowns. Today, we've got a knockout reel of leftist hypocrisy. From a pro-abortion activist sucker-punching a pro-life woman, then playing the victim, to MSNBC sobbing over deported gang members, and Disney's woke Snow White disaster flopping harder than Kamala Harris's campaign. Strap in. This is the left's kindness on full display.
Watch here as this lefty loses it during a discussion about abortion, attacking a pro-life activist, Savannah Craven-Antano.
I think that you just don't understand the magnitude of having a child.
Yeah, well, I'm not the one who admitted they would be okay with killing babies in foster care and killing children that have been abused.
That's not the point. What I'm saying.
That's really.
What's wrong with you?
Charming. That punch left Savannah bruised and bleeding, but it's okay because the charming abortion enthusiast who threw that punch has since apologised. Well, sort of. Brianna Rivers of the Bronx said this of her victim. She said, "Savannah is a professional antagonist, not a reporter, and the truth will be told. I will not allow my image to be defamed by this woman's actions. Anyone who knows me knows how respectful I am. I don't even litter. There's no way you believe I'm punching people for disagreeing with my point of view." Lady, I do believe you would punch people because of their point of view, because I've just been watching it. That's precisely what you did. Dear me.
Wow, so let me get this straight. This respectful leftist who doesn't even litter sucker punches a pro-life woman, then gaslights everyone by saying, oh, she's just a professional antagonist. Classic leftist playbook. Commit violence, then blame the victim. Newsflash, lady, we all just watched you throw a sucker punch because you couldn't handle a debate.
Time to check in with MSNBC. Let's hear from Democrat operative Simone Sanders. Here she's crying for gangbangers being sent to El Salvador. Remember, the American taxpayer saves a fortune by housing these criminals in El Salvador instead of US prisons.
I would like to know who's the camera crew that was hired to film this propaganda, and what company is literally exploiting the men in these videos for what? The men that you see in these videos that are dressed in white that the United States sent to El Salvador, your tax dollars are paying for them to be housed there. They didn't just pay for the flight. The tax dollars are paying for every single one of these men. Many of them, now innocent people who are not gang members.
Innocent people, she says. Yes, the sort of innocent people covered in gang tattoos, cavorting with criminals and in the country illegally. Time for a Scott Jennings special on CNN. This time he schools a Karen. No, really, that's her name.
So if we want to just keep
Question, who's more popular right now, Donald Trump or congressional Democrats?
Doesn't matter. Donald Trump happens to be the president, doesn't he?
It doesn't. He's sitting at 50-50. You're sitting at 20-80.
He's at 48-50, actually, and increasingly people. Oh, you want to call the AP and tell them they're closing?
You want to call CBS News?
Sure.
Right. Okay. We're not going to go to that over polls. We're not going to.
His numbers are going. His approval ratings are going down.
Where are yours
All right.
headed?
We got to leave it there.
Did you catch that? The CNN host is desperate to downplay Trump's popularity, but the numbers don't lie. Doesn't matter, she says, because when reality doesn't fit the left's narrative, they just pretend it doesn't exist. Trump's at 50%. Meanwhile, congressional Democrats are polling worse than ever, but facts don't matter to these people. Pathetic.
Now let's go to Senator Josh Hawley. He's had enough of paid activists and assorted lefty troublemakers. Here he turns the tables on Code Pink activists who are calling him a baby killer, and he reminds them of their funding from China.
You have the blood of Uyghurs on your hands. And oh no, you're a baby killer. The Uyghur babies, their blood is on your hands. How many bombs did you just vote? The blood of the Chinese is on your hands. And of course of the Jews.
Yep, it's high time that these anti-Israeli mobs had got a taste of their own medicine.
You're just a Jew hater, right? You're along for the ride. You're a Christian Zionist. No. Yeah. Don't accuse me of things. You're a Jew hater. You would destroy the nation of Israel.
Sir, you're a public official.
And you love China, that you are taking their money, and that you are rabidly anti-Israel. You are absolutely morally despicable. And I look forward to one day the moral comeuppance that you will deserve. You are morally
I'm a healthcare worker. I save lives.
You are appalling. You're a hatred for the Jews. Who cares?
You are a war criminal, baby killer.
Josh Hawley absolutely eviscerating these code pink clowns' poetry. Did you catch the healthcare worker line? Like wearing scrubs means you're morally immune? Sorry, sweetheart. Your job doesn't absolve you of supporting Hamas. Hawley's right. These people deserve moral comeuppance.
I just love the way he said, so what, when she kept saying, I'm a healthcare worker. Like that gives her immunity from criticism for her abhorrent activism. Now, we've covered at length Disney's latest woke disaster, Snow White, a film that is bombing at the box office and one that is so bad that even Disney seems a little bit ashamed, scaling back the promotion dramatically. But listen here as the star, Rachel Zegler, does a massive backflip. She's gone from bagging the original story to saying it's an example to admire.
That is part of the beauty of Snow White. It has been for 88 years now that she just sees the good in everyone and everything. And I hope that I and so many people who watch this film can embody that as well.
Disney's Snow White remake is so bad, even the star is backtracking. First, she trashes the original as creepy. Now she's calling it admirable. Translation, please go see this movie.
And let's have a good news story. Watch this thief be chased and tackled to the ground. And the humiliation did not end there. Watch Granny put the baddie in a headlock. Well, here's a case of chutzpah. China is accusing the US of bullying after America slapped tariffs on Beijing. And Donald Trump has made it clear that he will impose additional tariffs on China if they impose retaliatory tariffs.
They put a 34% tariff on above what their ridiculous tariffs were already. And I said, if that tariff isn't removed by tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we're putting a 50% tariff on above the tariffs that we put on.
This comes as countries scramble to make deals with the White House, offering to remove tariffs on US products in return for relief from US tariffs. Now, this has got to be the funniest story of the year for me so far. The New York Post reports Kamala Harris was absolutely blindsided by her landslide loss to Donald Trump. She had bought the hype herself. She thought her campaign was in good shape. They had more money, they had good press. And of course, those dodgy poll numbers that no one with a brain trusted, but she actually thought she was going to win comfortably. This is all in a new book on the 2024 presidential election by The Hill correspondent Amy Parnes. She also says Tim Walz, Kamala's VP candidate, was so stunned by Kamala's terrible performance that he was unable to speak on election night. The author describes the Minnesota governor sitting in his hotel room silently on election night as staffers tried to explain the crushing loss. I can just picture that. That is kind of hilarious in many ways. How could they not see this? Surely they have learnt over the years that the polls always underestimate Trump, that no matter how much good press you get, the media's influence has diminished. And Kamala was a poor candidate, just like Hillary was. Now, this next guy shows how you deal with these lefties. He encounters a woman in traffic in a Make America Gay Again cap. Hilarity ensues.
I like your MAGA hat. Yeah, Trump. Woo!
It says gay.
Oh, I know.
Just checking.
Trump fan.
Never know.
Trump?
No. It says Make America Gay Again.
Great. Again.
Gay.
I know, but we love Trump, right?
That is just so amusing. Now, here's alleged comic John Oliver, one of the unfunniest nincompoops to ever call himself a comedian. Here he goes on some bizarre rant arguing that males really don't have an advantage in sport. I don't know why you even have men and women's categories then, John.
Bigger and stronger bodies are not automatically advantaged in every scenario. But the degree of difference here matters because we expect a certain amount of difference in athletics. Taller basketball players are expected to compete against shorter ones. Faster soccer players compete against slower ones. We have no research about how being trans or undergoing gender-affirming treatment impacts athletic performance in teens.
Yes, he really is that stupid and pathetic. A sad, well, sounds like a laugh track accompanying lies, half-truths and gaslighting masquerading as comedy. Pathetic, but if you think that was the worst of it, well, brace yourself, because when this lefty loses it, he really loses it. Here he claims it's not the women being injured we should care about, it's the trans activists who are having their feelings hurt.
Just to be clear, I'm not happy to watch women experience injury, humiliation and a loss of sporting opportunities. But that includes trans women and kids, and they seem to be getting hurt the most right now.
Yeah, but they're not getting injured though, are they, John? And funny, if there is no physical advantage, then why are we not seeing a whole bunch of women identifying as men competing in men's competition?
John Oliver really said men don't have physical advantages in sports. Why did Leah Thomas go from a mediocre male swimmer to smashing women's records? The left's entire argument collapses with one simple question. If there's no advantage, why aren't trans men dominating male sports? They'd rather sacrifice women's safety than admit basic biology.
You know, even a broken clock is right twice a day, and even CNN occasionally allows truth and data to intrude on its 24/7 anti-Trump hysteria.
I think there was this concern among some folks that Donald Trump would come in for a second term and kind of be a lame duck. He ain't no lame duck. If anything, he's a soaring eagle. What am I talking about here? Let's talk about Trump executive orders in 2025. He's already signed 111 so far. That is the most at this point in a presidency in at least 100 years. In fact, it's the most in any single year, and we're only in April.
Oh, wow. The teeny tiny CNN audience doesn't want to hear that. The hosts don't want to hear it either. So naturally, the question had to be asked, does Trump have too much power with all those executive orders? Surely a big majority of Americans are worried about that. Turns out they're not, though.
Take it a step further. Do people think he has too much? He's taken too much power.
Yeah, this I think is the real question, right? You can believe that he's doing stuff completely differently, but do you think that he has a little too much power or not? And this is interesting. So Trump's presidential power is too much, the right amount, too little. Well, 47% say too much, but then you get 36% who say the right amount. Then you get 17% who say too little. So you're essentially dealing with a majority of the American public, 53%, who do not say that Trump has too much power. They either says he has too little power or the right amount of power. So the idea, that argument that Donald Trump is, quote unquote, a king, that I don't think holds with the American people. It does hold maybe with 47%, but with the majority of folks, they believe Donald Trump's doing something completely differently, and they don't believe he has too much power, and the executive orders he signed certainly suggest he's no lame duck. He is, as I said at the beginning, a soaring eagle.
53 to 47%. Funny how that works.
From sucker punches to sob stories for criminals, the left's addiction to violence and hypocrisy is on full display. Drop a comment. What's the most ridiculous thing you saw here? And subscribe if you're tired of the left's double standards. Spoiler, Trump's still winning.